Greetings, demons, and welcome to One Weekly, episode 59. And this time around, we have a decent amount of stuff to go over, so I'm not really going to, blubber on too much for the intro. But yeah, let's just get into the first topic.
Not the leader of a cult, RabbitWithAxe.
And starting off with something that I think is very, very cool, we have yet another board game. And yeah, previously, I think the most recent one of these was the... Oh, I may be wrong about this. I think it was the Space Marine board game. I could be wrong there. I think we may have had a different one that came out between. But this time around, we have the Warhammer 40k Darktide the Miniatures game. So, obviously, this is based off the Darktide video game, which I haven't had too much experience with. I haven't played too much. I do have it. I think I've used it a little bit for gameplay for these episodes. But, yeah, I've not put too much time into it. But from what I understand, it is a very, very good game. And it sounds very much like this board game version, this, miniatures game version of Darktide is very much going to be a light version of Kill Team, which is very nice in my opinion. I do quite like that. And it is essentially going to be a simplified version of Kill Team. That's the main point of it. You actually get 4 player characters which do match up with the classes in Darktide. So you get a veteran Militarum member, a Zealot, which I believe is supposed to be... I'm not actually sure what the model for the Zealot actually is. But yeah, these are all existing models, none of these are new. You get an Ogrin, and then you get the Primaris Psycho, I believe it is, which, all perfectly good models. It's always a shame that we don't get new models for these sets. It was very much the same for the most part with the Space Marine, the Space Marine, the video game, the board game, only having one exclusive miniature. This one doesn't have any, which is kind of unfortunate, but not unexpected. Total, there are actually 20 miniatures because you get a number of Poxwalkers and Chaos Cultists or Chaos Militarum. And yeah, in general, this looks like it's going to be a pretty fun game to play. Definitely much more up my alley compared to regular Kill Team, that's for sure. I'm just hoping, honestly, that it actually comes out in the UK because to this day, I still can't get my hands on Space Marine. That board game just doesn't... It hasn't been released in Europe. I don't understand why not, but yeah, it's really difficult to get my hands on that one, so hopefully Darktide's a little bit easier. We don't have any information about releases just yet, but there's going to be more information coming soon, apparently, and I'm sure there's going to be trailers and stuff like that coming out alongside it, beyond what we've already got. So, yeah, in general, very much looking forward to this one. Darktide, as I say, it's a game that I, really enjoy watching gameplay of. I do have, and I do plan to play way more than I already have. But, yeah, it's going to be very nice having a tabletop version of Darktide. And there's not really much else to say about it. As I say, it's a shame that it's all existing models, but not unexpected by any means. And moving on to something that I think, in some ways, is a little bit disappointing. As someone who is a fan of Tau, and with all the new releases for Tau that we've had recently, you would think that the Combat Patrol would be a little bit better than it is. But yeah, we do now have the new Tau Empire Combat Patrol, and it's very Tau. It's, it's not great or good, it's just Tau. It doesn't have any of the crew, it doesn't have any Vespids, anything like that, which isn't in the world. I don't care too much, but it is just, in my opinion, a little bit... I don't know, not necessarily disappointing, but I don't know. For me, I'd rather have a little bit more variety than it does. But you do get 10 breaches along with what is it called? Is it the Manta Ray? I can't remember. No, that's a problem. So in here you get 10 breaches along with 10 Pathfinders, as well as a Devilfish, which all those are perfectly good, and leading them, so to speak, you also get a Commander and an Enforcer battlesuit. So all that is good. I'm actually perfectly fine with everything here. Nothing's bad, everything works, and at the end of the day, it's very Tau. I almost think that we maybe shouldn't have had 2 squads, and instead should have had only 1 squad that can be built as either breaches or as Pathfinders, and then have another, battlesuit? I don't know, if they're going this way, I'd rather have 2 battlesuits. I don't know if that's just a me thing, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this side of Tau. I like them, I actually have breach teams as part of my usual setup, but yeah, the whole mechs and vehicles thing has just never been the part that attracts me. I'm not a Gundam type of person. I'm more of a, well, I like Kroot. That's my thing. I like Kroot. So I'm much more into that side of things. So yeah, for me, this Combat Patrol is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just not overly sold on it. I wish it had, especially when we have all the new releases, because they've come out for pre-order this week. All the new Kroot models, and just I would love to be able to get some of those with here. Like, imagine instead of like a Breach team, or instead of the Pathfinders, you instead have Kroot. Like, you just have Carnivores instead of Breaches. I don't know. I feel like they could have done a little more variety here. As it is, it's a perfectly good box, and I want to say it is better than the old box, though not by much. They're about the same in terms of overall quality. I think this is definitely a bit more of a viable box. I'm trying to remember what exactly is in the old box. But yeah, Devilfish is nice enough to have. Breaches and Pathfinders are stuff that you'll have in all your armies, basically, when it comes to Tau. Like, you're not going to not run them. And then, obviously, battlesuits are battlesuits. You know, having a commander in an enforcer battlesuit is perfectly fine. Perfectly happy with that, but yeah, just not the most interesting box. Not a box I'm going to be picking up, I don't think, unless I see it at a decent discount, but we'll see about that. But yeah, that's the new Tau Empire Combat Patrol. It's fine. I have nothing against it. It's just not my side of Tau, which is what it is. I don't really mind too much. But moving on to some fantasy with Age of Sigmar, we have the brand new Skaven Warlock Engineer, obviously for new AOS, and this guy's nice. I like him. He's a little rat with a gun and a telescope. There's not much to say about him. It's the unfortunate thing about Skaven models. So often they are very much just rats doing something. And, like, I love them. I love Skaven so much. But I have nothing to say about another rat doing a thing. It does look pretty good. I wish we had more images of him. We only unfortunately have the one shot. But yeah, he stood on some sort of... he stood on something metal. I cannot tell what it is. It almost looks like a mine to me, but I doubt he'd be stood in it. But yeah, his armor's pretty interesting. It's a little bit more ornate than we're used to. I like the rat on the shoulder, is very nice. And yeah, in general, looks perfectly fine. Probably a nice Skaven to paint. I think, does he have robot feet? He almost looks like he's got like clawed robot feet, which is kind of interesting. Or not robot feet necessarily, but mechanical feet potentially. And that's kind of interesting if it is the case. But yeah, this guy's cool. Skaven Warlock Engineer. Nothing too extraordinary, but yeah, also looking at his, I'm not going to put it on screen, but the War Scroll is pretty alright. It's a decent looking unit, even if it's not one that I personally care too much for. Yeah, it's another Skaven, love to see it, and there's not really anything else to say. I don't, it annoys me because I really like Skaven. I do really like Skaven, but this is the exact reason I don't actually have an army. It's because I look at them and I'm like, they're all kind of the same to a point. Like, some of them are really, really cool and unique, but most of them are just, rats doing something. And I feel like it's the one faction that is like that, where it's just like, I can just narrow it down to rat doing and then interactivity. So this is rat looking through a telescope. So it's just, I don't know. But yeah, nice enough model. Very nice to get a new Warlock. But yeah, nothing too special here. And keeping vaguely in the world of AOS, though, kind of not at the same time, we have a new White Dwarf with a new Grombrindal. And yeah, it's been a little while since we saw the last Grombrindal. I'm trying to think. It has to be, yeah, it has to be like 3 or 4 years. I do have the previous Grombrindal, which honestly isn't my favourite. He looks like a Fire Slayer, the previous one, which is alright. But yeah, I have it because it's Grombrindal. Like, you kind of have to have a White Dwarf in your collection. But yeah, this time around, he's a little bit more heroic. He's a little bit more... So he's a Sigmar dwarf, which I think works a lot better. I love his base. It's got all sorts of stuff on it. It's got axe heads from Chaos. It's got shields from the Orcs. It's got all sorts of stuff on it. Very, very cool. I like his axe as well. Very ornate. There's not too much to really say about him. He looks like he always does. He's Grombrindal. He's White Dwarf. Big white beard. Like, a lot of white hair. Little cape and stuff like that. Just the usual aesthetic for him. And we do actually get a very nice little image of some of the previous versions of him where he's a space marine or a pirate or a film director. I do kind of wish that we got another 40k version. I wish we got a Votan version of him this time around, but I'm willing to allow them to just continue with the fantasy version. It is the original version of Grombrindal. I'm not going to really complain too much. Like, White Dwarf is primarily supposed to be the fantasy thing, though obviously it includes 40k nowadays. Like, it is the fantasy Warhammer, like, magazine. So, yeah, and this is obviously celebrating the 500th... that sounds wrong, but 500th, I guess, issue of White Dwarf. And, yeah, alongside that issue releasing next month, you'll have a limited time to get this new Grombrindal. So, yeah, definitely a model that's worth getting if you're a fan of White Dwarf, if you're a fan of dwarves in general, as in, like, as factions. But even if you just want a nice painting challenge, like, this is a nice, well-detailed model, a lot going on, a lot of different details, a lot of different materials as well. So just a very nice model all around. And, yeah, I don't know. To me, it's not the most interesting. You know, as I said, I'd rather go back to having, not go back, but I'd rather have a Space Marine one or some sort of, like, Votan-inspired one or something like that. I don't know. I'd rather have something 40k just because we haven't had one for a while. But, yeah, either way, very nice to see a new Grombrindal. And, yeah, I do wonder if the Grombrindal that's currently available is going to be, like, cancelled or, like, discontinued, should I say. But with this releasing, this is only a limited time release, so I'm not actually completely sure on that, but yeah, well, I guess we'll see, because that one is still available. Like, if I go into my local Warhammer right now, they have it still. Like, they have a few on the shelf at all times, because people don't really buy them that often, but yeah, I do wonder about that. But yeah, in any case, new Grombrindal, very nice to see, and there's not much I can say about it, unfortunately. So that leaves us with the final topic, the Rumour Engine for the 23rd of April 2024. And this is a very interesting one to me. So it's a robot claw, 3 fingers and 3 fingers, 2 fingers and thumb sort of thing. Just a typical claw, really, like a bird claw. But yeah, very interesting to me. I'm not too sure what to make of it. Definitely leaning towards 40k for obvious reasons. I'd almost say this is more of a Necromunda model design than anything that I can think of from standard 40k. It's definitely not 30k. I feel pretty confident in saying that. But yeah, I'd be lying if I said I knew what this was going to be. Like, part of me wants to say that this is a Corvus Corax reference, potentially. But I'm not holding my breath on that one. I don't think that's going to happen. I'd love that to happen sometime soon. But I don't think Demon Bird Corax is coming back anytime soon, unfortunately. But yeah, if it is something for Ravengard, that's cool. If it's something, I feel this is more likely going to be something from Chaos. I don't know what's telling me that, but just, it's mechanical, it's violent looking in a way that Imperium doesn't always do. I don't know, Lightning Claws are a lot friendlier from the Imperium side than the Chaos side. I don't know, this kind of just leans into that side. If it is regular 40k, I'd say I'm leaning toward Necromunda potentially being part of some sort of Ogrin mech sort of deal. But yeah, we'll see, I suppose, in the future. But yeah, very interesting. A lot of ideas for this one, I've got to say. There's a lot of things running from my head by looking at this one, so definitely something to look out for. But yeah, I'm leaning towards 40k and specifically Necromunda. So we'll see, but that's my thoughts right now. But on that note, that is going to be it for this video. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like it, subscribe if you're new to it, and ring the bell so you never miss upload. Otherwise, comment below any thoughts, feelings, anything you want to correct that I've said about any of the topics this week. And otherwise, check out the recent-ish video that I was going over, the whole woke hammer controversy. It was very much a last week topic, but yeah, make sure to check out the video if you haven't already. There's been a lot of discussion going on with that one. My opinion has changed a little bit since releasing that video, so I may do a follow-up at some point, but that's beside the point anyway. There's also a post on the channel if you go to the community page, where I'm going to be doing a Q&A at some point in the next week. So if you have any questions you want to ask, whether it's Warhammer related, or whether it's anything gaming related, or even just general, if you want to just ask a general question to me, go ahead, I don't really mind. But yeah, that'll be also on the channel as well, linked in the description below. And yeah, otherwise, it's going to be from me. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Look at the screen, you'll be fine. Culture's a disease, but worlds divine. I just wanna take